This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to Lockdown Coverage. Your man Louie Tee covering the entire National Football League like a blanket. Week number 6 in the National Football League. The Bears, Chicago Bears, hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Somebody's going to win their second game of the season. Was it going to be the hometown Bears or the road team, Jacksonville Jaguars? We'll talk about that here in a second. But first, before we get to the breakdown of this game, welcome to the Louie Tee Network. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. Also, I'm on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. If you're watching this while you're on YouTube, go ahead and use that hashtag LouieTeeLive to have your voice heard at the end of this breakdown. I will read your comment. So be sure to use the hashtag LouieTeeLive. And if you happen to be watching this on the YouTube live chat feed, go ahead and use the hashtag there as well, LouieTeeLive, to have your comment read at the end of this breakdown. I'm also on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and like that page. All my social media platforms right there up above, scrolling across the screen. So if you forget, hey, it's right there, readily available. Subscribe, like, and follow. With that being said, let's jump into this breakdown. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe for these football teams. We start with the road team in this game and their first half likes, and that being the Jacksonville Jaguars. Opening drive. And although it did not result in any points, it was the Jaguars' longest and most productive drive in terms of yardage and time eaten up of the season. 84 yards, over 5 minutes of the first quarter clock. I thought it was a very, very well put together drive. Great balance. They ran the football, had a little success with Chris Ivory, a little bit of TJ Yeldon sprinkled in there. I thought Blake threw the football well, aided by a couple of Bears penalties. They moved it right down the field methodically, and they got down to the 1 yard line, have a huge false start penalty on Kelvin Beachum, and then the very next play should have been caught by Allen Robinson. Low throw, he tips it into the air. It's then picked off by Tracy Porter. You get nothing on the most productive and time-consuming drive the Jags have had this season, all for naught. But I thought it was an impressive opening drive, the likes of which we would see later on in the game when they would score their first touchdown of the game. So Jaguars putting together a nice opening drive to get down the field. That was their only first half light. You go to the Bears. Tracy Porter with the interception. I just talked about that. Tracy Porter able to get the interception. After allowing the Jags to move it down the field, the Bears buckled down inside the 5, get a stop on first down. Second down, they're able to force an incomplete pass. Third down, they're able to pick Blake Bortles off after a false start penalty. So big set of downs for the Bears. The defense rises to the occasion. Tracy Porter getting an interception, taking points potentially off the scoreboard. The 10-0 lead at the halftime break, if you're the Bears, you got to be sick to your stomach with the way that this game ended, because you dominated the first half of the game. You're up 10-0. You really don't do much wrong in this game from a turnover perspective. You actually win the turnover battle. You force 2 turnovers in this game, and you don't win this game. And I'll tell you why you don't win this game a little bit later on. But the 10-0 start, look, the Jaguars coming off a bye. They're 1-3. They're not a good football team. You got them right where you want them. You're at home. You're up 10-0, 2-score lead. Take advantage of that and run away with this game. But the Bears aren't a good team themselves, and so they didn't know what to do with that 10-point lead. They didn't know how to put this Jaguars team away, and so they didn't. Let's get to the second half or first half dislikes. We'll go back to Jacksonville in this game. False start penalty on Kelvin Beachum on that first possession. I talked about that already. You get all the way down to the 1 yard line. You can't have that type of mistake there in that instance. That's one of those situations you need to have laser-like focus there. You can't jump false start and move it from the 1 back to the 6 the very next snap, because at the 1, everything's available to you. You can still run it. You can throw it. And guess what? If you don't get it, let's say you decide to throw it and it's incomplete. Now you still have the option to go for it on 4th down and goal from the 1. You're not going for it from the 6. It's not the same thing. You kick the field goal in that instance then. So not only did you take the run pass option out of the mix with that false start penalty, but you also took the ability to make this a 4th down potentially possession. This is a 4 down possession. So you really lessen the likelihood that you're going to get 7 on this possession with that false start penalty. Big mistake by Kelvin Beachum there. And on the very next play, I think this was only fitting, this was only right that this happened. Interception by Blake Bortles. This is what the bad teams in the league do. False start penalty, 3rd and goal from the 1. False start penalty moves you back to the 6. The very next play, you throw an interception. This was not, I'm not putting this one on Blake. I thought he put the football where it needed to be. Could have been up a little bit more, sure. I expect Allen Robinson to catch this football. I don't expect him to tip it into the air and allow it to be picked off by Tracy Porter. I'm not putting this. I refuse to put this one on Blake B. We love to kill Blake B. I know I beat him up all the time for all the mistakes he makes. I'm not putting this one on him, though. First half dislikes for the Chicago Bears. Penalties on the Jags opening drive. Okay, I thought this was a flawless first half, essentially, for the Bears. Would have loved to have seen them put more points on the scoreboard because I thought they dominated this first half. But you're winning 10-0 at half. The defense is pitching a shutout. They forced a turnover already. The offense has gotten in the end zone once. You would have loved to have seen it been twice. But okay, they've gotten in the end zone. You've tacked on a field goal. It's 10-0. The only things that I didn't like in the first half, that opening possession the Jaguars had that could have resulted in some points if not for the turnover, is 2 pass interference penalties, one on Jarrell Freeman that I didn't agree with, and the other on Jacoby Glenn that gave them the football inside the 10-yard line. So don't aid the Jacksonville Jaguars on their longest drive of the season. Don't do that. They don't need your help. Don't help them out. They're struggling. Let them struggle. Don't help them get out of that struggle. You go to the second half and the likes, and you go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Aurelius Ben, 50-yard touchdown, the go-ahead score. I want to just talk about the resiliency of this Jaguars team. They were down in this game 10-0. They could have allowed this game to slip away from them. They were down 13-0. Okay, this game could have gotten out of hand. They battled, they scratched, they clawed, they gave themselves an opportunity to win this football game. And when the opportunity presented itself, Blake Bortles able to deliver the football to Aurelius Ben, who is not touched, able to have the presence of mind to not only make the catch, but get up and run for a touchdown. Big play in the game. That was the game-winning score. So that was a huge play by Aurelius Ben to give them that lead at 17-16. Chicago Bears, their second half, like Willie Young forcing a fumble. Second time the Bears able to get the football away from the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was an impactful play because this gave the Bears some prime field position. You'd love to see them cash this in and turn it into a touchdown. They do that there, they win this game. But they had to settle for a field goal. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But Willie Young had a huge game. Did have a personal foul penalty that was impactful. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But 2 sacks for Willie Young, including his forced fumble of Blake Bortles. Thought he was phenomenal, and he did his part to try to help his team win this ball game. You go back to the dislikes. We go back to the second half. Blake Bortles fumble. Bears recover at the 28-yard line. So I just mentioned that. A great play by Willie Young. Blake Bortles has to have better presence of mind. Look, I've been on him about this, about his lack of awareness and not just situational awareness like we saw in week number 2 or 3 versus the Ravens, where he runs out of the pocket, stands by the sidelines, and lets Terrell Suggs sack him. I'm not talking about situational awareness, just talking about awareness in general. Knowing your surroundings, knowing that there's a little bit of traffic around, knowing that you need to put the football away. On this particular play, he could have run. It was second down. run, pick up 5, pick up 8, live to fight another down. Why are you standing there? Why are you holding onto the ball in no man's land, allowing a guy that is much more faster and athletic to you to come from behind and get you and knock the football loose? You've got to have that sixth sense. You got to be able to know and feel when a guy's around to put the football away or just run. I really get frustrated with Blake Bortles because he acts as if he's not an athlete. He can move. He can run. So use your legs. Create. When it's not there, you don't have to take a sack. You don't have to fumble the football. You don't have to put your team in a long third down and distance situation. Run. You don't have to stand there. Run. Your receiver doesn't have to get open. Run. He refuses to do so. Cost him on this play. He fumbled the football. Bears, second half dislikes. Kadeem Carey drops a third down pass. You got to catch the football, man. Come on. You got the lead. You got all the momentum. And there was space and opportunity. If he catches this, there's one defender there in front of him. I don't think that defender has the angle. I think Kadeem Carey beats him to the corner. And there may be 20 yards of real estate down the sideline if he wants it down there to get, if he catches this football cleanly. Good delivery by Billy Ho. No reason for him to drop this football. None whatsoever. Just a lack of concentration. And when you're a 1-4 football team, these are the types of plays that lose you football games. It's the attention to detail that I always reference. These are the types of plays that don't really show up on the stat sheet, but a third down conversion here with some space and opportunity down the sideline to make this an even bigger game. Who knows what this turns into? Even if it turns into a field goal, you win this football game potentially. That's the difference between winning and losing. Bad teams find ways to lose. Good teams find a way to win. Got to catch this football here. Willie Young roughing the passer penalty on a third down led to a touchdown. These are the type of plays that kill you. And even though Willie Young made amends for this with the fourth fumble of Blake Bortles, these are the types of penalties that hurt your football team. They're going to have to punt the football. And because of this roughing the passer penalty, they get a free 15. All of a sudden, now they're in business. They turn that into a touchdown and get their first score of the game. You're pitching a shutout at the time. This was a very harmful penalty indeed. Settling for field goals in the red zone. This is where the game was lost for the Bears, right here. I talk about this all the time. You know the mantra. You know the motto. Touchdowns or field goals don't win games. Touchdowns do. You know what time it is. And after that Willie Young fumble, that was the perfect opportunity to get 7. That was supposed to be 7. You get the football at the Jags 28. You need to turn that into 7, not another field goal. 2 red zone field goals, one from 24, which means you were at the 6 and had to settle for a field goal. The other at the 31. Billy Ho, deer caught in headlights, takes a sack on third down, pushes them back to the 13-yard line where they settle for a 31-yard field goal. Look, at the end of the day, you have to find a way to get it in the end zone. You dominated this football game. You played well enough to win, but you settled for field goals, and it ultimately was the deciding factor in this game as the Jags scored 2 touchdowns. You scored more than the Jags did in this game. Let's be clear on that, okay? You scored 4 times in this game. The Jags only scored 3 times. But guess what? They scored 2 touchdowns. You only scored 1. They win the football game. That's the difference in this league. Can you get in the end zone? Because touchdowns win games. Field goals don't. And the Jaguars got in the end zone and the Bears didn't. And that's why the Bears lost this football game. Face mask penalty on Danny Trevathan. He was not happy about it. He said, look, I got a goddamn club on my hand. How would I face mask anybody? Obviously, the officials thought that he did. He picked up a face mask penalty. A holding penalty on the last drive of the game by running back Jordan Howard was a costly one. Pushes the Bears back into a 3rd and 16 situation. They would not convert, and that would end up being the ball game. So just too many mistakes by a team that's 1-4, searching for a win at home. You're up 10-0. You blow that lead. Can't make the type of mistakes you made in this game and expect to win. You forced 2 turnovers. You didn't give the football away, and yet you still managed to lose this game, and it's just because you failed to make enough plays. You settled for field goals. You didn't take advantage of those opportunities that you created. You didn't take advantage of all of the opportunities that you made for yourself in this game, and because of it, you allowed the Jags to hang around, and they stole the game. And my last dislike, Billy Ho can't throw it 49 times. I know he hasn't turned it over yet, okay? But that discrepancy between one run and pass, inexcusable. 27 runs, 49 passing attempts for Billy Ho. Keep in mind, this game was never out of hand. You were always ahead. I don't understand the discrepancy between pass and run. That ratio, way out of whack. You're talking about 2 passes essentially for every run in this game. You should be running the football. Jordan Howard, and I know there wasn't a lot of success on the ground. Okay, Kadeem Carey ran a lot more effectively than Jordan Howard in this game. Fine, run Kadeem Carey. I do not like the idea of Billy Ho chucking the football 49 times. Since when is that a good idea? I know he's been hot of late, and he goes over 300 yards again in this game. 49 passing attempts, way too many. Maybe if you would have run the football a little bit more, maybe the Jaguars would have ran out of time in this game. That's just a thought. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. In any event, Jags come from behind, win this game, 17-16. They were left for dead in this game, and somehow they rose from the ashes of Soldier Field to come out victorious, get their second win of the season. Bears drop to 1-5. That's a gut-wrenching loss. They had every opportunity to win this game, and they simply refused to take this game by the horns. Let's see what you guys have to say on this subject matter. No tweets, so we'll get right to the comment section. Andrew Kim, my man AK, says, why is the run game for the Jags struggling with Ivory and Yeldon? They just haven't found their footing. There were some good runs in there for Ivory in this game. The problem is consistency. Yeldon hasn't been on track all season long, but they expected the run game to pick up when Ivory got healthy, and it just really hasn't. They just need more consistency. The offensive line's not creating that much space. Guys are getting the football, and they don't even have anywhere to go. That being said, though, that's why they brought Ivory here, because they expect him to run through arm tackles and make guys miss, and he really hasn't done that. But again, he's just starting to get back into the rhythm and the flow. Remember, he missed the first few games of the season with an illness, so he's just starting to get back into the rhythm of things. Yeldon, I think they feel like they know who he is now. They don't think he's a feature back. He's more of a change of pace third down back. So they're starting to define roles in that backfield. If the offensive line can start to get some cohesiveness. Remember, this is an offensive line that they were shuffling around, trying to figure out who fits best where. And so I still don't think they're comfortable fully up front. They're figuring some things out, though. They know who their left and their right tackles are. Now it's all about figuring out those interior offensive linemen. If they can get some continuity there, I think they may be able to do something in the running game as this season progresses. It's all good, AK. And that's it in terms of comments. I thank you guys for joining me out there. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on Lockdown Coverage. Your man Louie T is continuing to change the game one live feed at a time. I'll be back a little bit later on. Pats and Bengals coming down the pipeline a little bit later on. I will see you then. Got plenty of football to break down. It's going to be a long, long day. Trust me. Your man Louie T is going to break it all down for you before it's all said and done. I will see you a little bit later on. Have a good one.